Good morning, everyone. So a warm welcome to the Kochi ACE event. For today's event, we have Bindya, who heads marketing at View 26, and she's gonna enlighten us on the topic of SLA. So I think she would be covering a brief on Jira Service Management, especially the cloud edition, and then dive deeper into service level agreements. How do you configure them, the different types of SLA, and take it from there. So a warm welcome, Bindya, to the Kochi ACE event, and over to you.
Thank you, ACE Cochin, for the wonderful introduction. And I'm very delighted to speak on today's topic, getting SLA requests from JSM. So as you all know, Jira Service Management, also known as JSM, is an open collaborative platform that allows you to track work across the enterprise. So to set the agenda for today, I would be taking you through the JSM basics, mainly for those of you who are new to JSM, getting into SLAs and looking into the key terms and definitions. We then shift our focus to SLA tracking and monitoring an SLA, and also looking at the dashboard and project custom reports supported by JSM. Finally, we look at some advanced reporting use cases and how Atlassian marketplace apps can help you with such use cases. Next slide, Ajay. Okay, so let's first understand why we need a service project. So every business, whether big or small, they need effective IT services and systems to increase productivity. So let's take a look at how. Customers, both internal and external, have requests and problems. The IT service team needs to support both the internal customer requests and the external service requests. So customers can have trouble with a company's product or services. They might require assistance in installation or troubleshooting, and also when they encounter bugs in a product. So here, in this case, we are talking about external customers that use our products and services. But there are also internal support requirements, like if users in your own organization cannot access VPN. Also, internal teams such as developers, they need to work closely with the IT support team and need visibility into issues that are reported by the customers. And they need to be resolved as soon as possible. Good service leads to good customer satisfaction. And of course, as we all know, that is what leads to the company's success. So these users have a constant demand for new services, and they need to be resolved very fast. So service outages and downtime have a direct impact on customers and organizations. They can end up being very expensive. They can result in lost revenue or wasted time and low customer satisfaction. It can also damage the organization's reputation. We now live in a software-powered world. Here, support systems are expected to provide 24/7 availability. You need to ensure your critical business applications and services are always on and available to customers. A service project can support all of these needs. So I hope it is clear now how IT support is the backbone of an organization. A good service desk is one that can resolve some customer requests and problems immediately with self-service. But for those requests that need to be worked on or need to be looked into in detail, a service desk can aid your service team in providing efficient way to resolve these requests and problems as fast as possible. So in this session, we'll show you how to set up your Jira Service Management so that you can resolve customer requests and problems really fast. By the way, JSM provides both application and service support. So we can move on to the next slide. So JSM, we can stay there. JSM is an open collaborative platform that allows you to track work across the enterprise. You can link issues across Jira and get data from other software development tools. So your IT support and operation teams have rich contextual information to rapidly respond to requests, incidents, and changes. And like I mentioned in the previous slide, it is also shown in the image over here. The JSM also brings IT and dev teams that use Jira Service software closer together. Since all these teams operate from a single, fully integrated platform, they can collaborate and share information in a single solution. JSM is actually a front end that connects you to the rest of the DevOps tools. So you can use JSM on its own, but you can get so much more added benefit if you use it with Jira software. This integration allows you to implement complex service scenarios. So now, before we get into the JSM features, let's look at the different roles in JSM. Yeah, listed here are the different roles. So it's always up to you on how you implement these roles in your organization and what job roles they may map to. So the main users involved in JSM projects are the customers, the agents, the Jira software or business users who collaborate with these agents, and an administrator. So let's go through them in detail. So firstly, we have the customers. So when the customers have a request or a problem, they create requests in the customer portal, or they can even send an email. You can invite an unlimited number of customers to your service projects, and they do not consume any JSM licenses. The next role we have here is that of an agent. So agents work on resolving customer requests. They can see both the customer portal and the internal service project interface. So each agent consumes a JSM license. Now moving on to Jira software users, they collaborate with agents and help them resolve these issues. They may provide information, or they might be the ones to find the resolution. The developer might have to fix the bug that's causing the customer's problem. They do not consume JSM licenses. And now for the administrator has administrative rights for the service project. They set up and configure the service project. IT managers, team managers, Jira administrators, or other people may fulfill the service project administrator role. So each administrator consumes a JSM license. Okay, we can move on to the next slide, Ajay. So here is the summary of the main JSM features. They include easy to use customer portal, an email channel, integrated knowledge for self-service, powerful SLA and reporting. Then there's automation and real-time collaboration. So JSM brings knowledge management integrated into the customer portal, powered with Confluence. This allows customers to perform self-service for frequent requests. Also, agents, they can quickly add new knowledge-based articles from right within the JSM. Okay, we can move on to the next one. Yeah, so now we move on to introducing the SLAs. Yeah, most of us would have heard about SLAs, but what exactly is an SLA? So SLA stands for Service Level Agreement. It is a contract between the service provider and the end user. It defines a level of service that can be expected from the service provider. Or in other words, the purpose of an SLA is to define what the customer will receive. SLA focuses on the customer and provides accountability. And SLAs are important for the IT teams too. These SLAs help you communicate service agreements to your customers. It helps the team improve their services. It also helps keep track of your team's performance. Now let's look into more details on how this is done. Jira Service Management, or JSM, comes with built-in SLA management. This can help you proactively monitor requests to ensure that they are resolved in a timely manner. From the moment your customer reaches out to you for help, the clock is ticking, and it won't stop until that customer has a solution. In short, that clock measures the time to resolution, which is a very common customer service metric. So anytime you create a new project, JSM will automatically start recording the time to resolution metrics so that you can track how your team is performing. JSM comes with powerful out-of-the-box SLAs. Now let's look at the examples in this slideshow. We're looking at the all open queue in JSM here. And for each request in the queue, you will find the pre-configured time to first response SLA listed besides it. For the first issue, the SLA in queue is in red, and that indicates that the SLA has been breached. The time to first response must have been somewhere around, say, 4 hours, and it has exceeded the time by 49 minutes. So one request can have multiple SLAs. On the right top, you see 2 SLAs in the issue, the time to resolution and the time to first response. Both are pre-configured. JSM's rule engine automatically applies SLA targets as requests enter the queue. So SLA displays make it easy to know how much time is remaining. As you get closer to your goal, the timer will automatically turn yellow and red when the SLA has been breached. This helps to prevent breaching your SLA rather than spending time managing these SLA violations. Yeah. So in SLA, an SLA in JSM, it's made up of 2 settings. So a time metric, which lets you define how much time will be measured for this SLA. You can think of time metric as a stopwatch that tracks time between 2 points in an issue's life cycle. JSM lets you control exactly when time is tracked, letting you start, pause, and stop based on selected issue conditions. The time conditions on an SLA specify what time your team considers to be the tracking time. The second setting in an SLA is the goal for selected issues, which lets you define a target for the time metric. So different sets of issues can have different goals. You define the issues for each goal using a JQL. So power users of JQL can build complex goals, but always remember to have a default value. So this lets you set the amount of time that's allowed for different scenarios. To make it clear, let's move on to the next slide. So now let's just look at what we discussed in the previous slide with some examples. So here you see the time to first response SLA, which is a pre-configured SLA. So pre-configured SLAs cover some of the most common IT requirements. In this SLA, the time will be measured from the time the issue is created until either a comment is entered for the customer or the status changes from to waiting to customer or the issue is resolved. So the goal for this SLA is to have the first response within 2 hours of the incident or 4 hours of the service request and no goal for any other type of issues. So this is the example we just looked at. So we can move on to the next slide. So time to resolution is another pre-configured SLA. So this example is a customized version of the default time to resolution SLA. In this SLA, the time will be measured from the time the issue is created or responded until the issue is resolved. However, the counter will pause when the issue is in the waiting for customer status. So if you have a more complex workflow, you must remember to add in all your start conditions. In this pre-configured time to resolution SLA, we count the time it takes from when the issue is opened until it is resolved. And also start counting if the issue is reopened. So you need to ensure that you start counting the time again when it is reopened. So that needs to be in the start condition. The goal varies depending, we can stay on the same slide. Yeah, the goal varies depending on the issue type and whether the issue is critical. So for critical incidents, the goal is to resolve the issue within 2 hours. And whereas for other incidents which are not very critical, the goal is 4 hours. And for service requests, the goal is 8 hours. And for any other type of request, the goal is 40 hours. So when you have multiple goals, issues are checked against the list from top to bottom and assigned a time target based on the first matching issue. Because goals are proceeded in order, put your strict ones at the top of the list and finish off with the default ones. So we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, so here we take a look at an SLA with goals and conditions. So in this example, if a client calls the IT support and requests for a new laptop, the agent would inform him that it would take 2 business days or so for the hardware request. So if he calls on a Friday, it would be expected to be resolved only by Monday or Tuesday. This is what we see in the second goal setting here in the slide shown here. However, if the client says it's critical for his work, the IT support would target resolution within 8 hours. And now the first goal would be set, and you can see it is a 24/7 calendar. So you can have separate calendars for each goal, like in this example here. SLA calendars are unique to each service project. By default, SLAs are measured against 24/7 working hours. However, you can use SLA calendars to specify your team's time zone and working hours. For example, SLA calendars let you exclude lunch breaks, holidays, or weekends from the time that affects the SLAs. You can set the time zone to GMT and set the work week from Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., etc. So these would be the hours the SLA would be measured against. Yeah, we can move on to the next slide. So we move on to the next topic, tracking and monitoring SLAs. So let's first look at how you can use Jira Query Language or JQL for SLA reporting. You can create your own reports and use SLA-specific JQL conditions. JSM includes specific JQL syntax that can help you hit your SLA goals. You can export the JQL results as CSV or Excel files. On the left of each function is the name of the SLA, which can be either a pre-configured one or custom. So the first SLA in this example, which is shown here, is time to first response. So it uses the ever breach function to find the issues that breach the time to first response goal. The second example finds issues that are paused during the time to resolution SLA cycle. Other functions in this group are completed and running. The last example finds issues that will breach the resolution target in the next 2 hours. So here you can notice that the function remaining has a parameter passed into it, which is a number followed by H for hours and M for minutes. So we can move on to the next slide. Yeah. JSM comes with default reports used to measure common service project functions. Custom reports, which are used to help you track specific team goals, and also dashboards, which are used for dynamic reporting. The default reports can't be changed, whereas the custom reports can be edited, or you can even create your own. So here in this slide, we have the report for time to first response SLA. We have in green the SLAs that have met the goal, and in red, those that got breached in the past 7 days. So there are many more custom reports that come with JSM out of the box. Few of them are created versus resolved, which compares the number of requests being created and resolved over time. Time to resolution, which shows how long it's taking to resolve the request. SLA met versus breached. It compares the number of requests that have been met against those that have been breached. And SLA success rate, which shows how your team is tracking towards SLA goals. So you can create your own custom reports or edit the custom reports by adding a series, which is a set of data points used to make your reports. For example, the number of requests received on different days of the week. So they can be used to report on any SLA you've created for your service project and not just the examples above. You can add a label for the series, or you can select a color. You could even add filters or filter the series using standard fields, for example, issue type or status and component, and use Jira Query Language or JQL. Okay. So we can move to the next one.
Binnya, just Gaurav had just raised his hand. So Gaurav, yeah, if you have a question, sure.
Thank you. So, Binnya, thanks for the detail till now. But usually one of the key reports which, having worked in service management for long, all the stakeholders are interested in is what's your SLA? You're showing the post response report, right? So first response for each priority type, because SLAs per priority can vary. So it could happen that let's suppose my SLA for first response for a high priority is, let's say, 2 hours, and I want to meet it 99% of the times. Whereas my SLA for a lower priority could be 4 hours, and it's okay if I meet it 95% of the times. So can we have that kind of a report as well?
Yeah, can I pass it on to John? John is the expert in our team, so
Yeah.
he could be answering the question.
Gaurav, yeah, I think for use cases where you need more granular filters, because reporting in Jira in general is pretty generic. You would usually need something like a external app. So View26, for example, is also a marketplace vendor where one of our products is reporting for Jira Service Management, where we do allow that. And yeah, so these sort of use cases generally out of the box solution, you would need additional marketplace apps that would enable this functionality.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Gaurav will be also showing the app towards the end, so hope it will help you then.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, so can we move to the next slide, Ajay? Yeah, so you can also display information about JSM projects and team performance using the Jira dashboards. So Jira dashboards are single pages of information which are made up of gadgets. So gadgets are configurable into boxes designed to give users real-time access to real-time Jira data at a glance. So if you're a person who works on multiple service projects, you can add gadgets to a dashboard to view reports from all of these service projects in one place. So the filter counts gadget helps you select a single project and search using multiple options. So there's a list of options to choose from, and these include the SLAs too. So service project report gadget displays a custom report from a service project based on the configuration provided. The metrics available are created versus resolved, time to resolution, SLA met versus breached, SLA success rate, which we've shown here in the slide. Yeah, so we can move on to the next slide, Ajay. Yeah, so we move on to the next topic, advanced SLA reports. So there are certain metrics that support teams during using the JSM that needs to be ought to be measured very regularly. So if you want to maintain and increase customer satisfaction, they need to be measured regularly. You can also display information about JSM projects and teams' performance using custom dashboards using our View26 charts and reports. So let's just take a look at how. Okay. So I work with View26 and Atlassian Gold Partner. So I head the marketing activities at View26. So our flagship app, View26 Charts and Reports for JSM, caters to JSM use cases and especially the portal reporting use case. So let's just look at this app, Charts and Reports for JSM. So once you enter the Charts and Reports app, you will be prompted to set up your first view. You can either get started from scratch or use a template. So here we've chosen the service desk template and click create to create your view. And now it's created. Now let's look at how you can customize it. Select the widget panel within the view and you drag and drop the widgets onto the relevant section. To create a custom widget, click on the custom widget button. Select the type of widget, which could be either a KPI or chart or table, and choose the measures from the drop-down. Now you can get a preview of your custom widget And once you hit the create button, it gets added to the view. Now our view is ready and it can now be shared with the customer. So apart from the export to PDF option, there are also options to share the view with external stakeholders by generating a public link or sharing live reports with customer organizations, and the report will appear in the customer portal. And this is a very useful tool, a functionality, and this is how the view or report would look in the customer portal. Yeah, this is how our report would look.
So India, usually on a customer portal, whatever we are able to see is based on whatever access a customer has. So usually the customer has access to the tickets raised by the customer, or if any ticket has been shared through his organization. So thinking from that perspective, what would this chart enable that particular customer to see? Would every customer be able to see all the SLAs made for their organization's ticket, or how is it? Because I could be a single portal could be servicing to hundreds of customers, right? So what's the data limitations on this?
Yeah, so I'll just chip in again. So Gaurav, in these cases, so it depends on obviously depends on the specific organizational use cases. So one common use case that we have with a lot of our customers is they use a single template, and that template basically a view, and that view they can share across all their organizations. So what the app does automatically is for each customer logging into the customer portal, even though we've shared a single template to all of them, or view to all of them, they see only their data. So you can reuse that same template and each of your customers will get the report with only their data.
That means every, let's suppose I'm servicing to an organization A. So every employee of organization A would be able to have a report view of all the tickets which have been raised for organization A. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. Only for organization A. And organization B, they'll if they go to the same view in the customer portal, they'll see only their data.
Understood. And can I introduce some level of limitations in it that, okay, if I define my org structure for the customer also, let's suppose I do not want every employee of organization A to view all the details. Can I introduce that level of hierarchy for the customers?
Yeah, so we have such a use case. So we have a popular US telecom provider who's a big, it's a customer of our customer.
Okay.
And what they have done for is they have different levels, different organizations. So you have management who has access to more issues, and you have maybe some other lower level organizations. So there are some access restrictions. So it depends on the specific use case. But yeah, there are things that you can do. In some cases, you might not be able to use a template. You will have to filter it explicitly for a particular organization. So you'll have to create a view designed to restrict data for a specific organization. But that is very much possible.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for pitching in, John. Yeah, so that's about it. We've come to the end of the session. So for a quick recap, we had an introduction to JSM, followed by how SLAs can be configured. Then we also looked into the built-in SLA reporting capabilities of JSM, and followed by advanced use cases supported by apps like View26, charts and reports for Jira Service Management. So hope you all enjoyed the session. And I was thinking we could wrap up this session on a fun note. So Ajay has prepared some questions on a pop quiz. So I'll hand it over to Ajay. Are you ready, Ajay?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah. So all the best, everyone.
So we have a pop quiz, which is, I mean, it should be easy. It's based on the JSM SLA questions. And we have a small prize as well. So the first user who completes it correctly, I think they'll receive a mail. So just have a look at your message chat window. I think you would have received a.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Request, yeah. So I'd urge the participants to just have a look and answer those.
It says quiz flight. So
Yeah. So I think if you.
okay, I need to sign in to add this app.
Need a join code.
Okay.
Okay, I think there's some issue here.
It says join code. So
Code, yeah, I think let me. I mean, this is the very first time I'm using a Zoom app.
Maybe you can just ask the question.
Uh,
The first to answer.
Oh, just give me a second. Host a quiz, okay. So this time I have the join code. Yes, this one. Are you able to access the join code?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
putting it. Gaurav, I hope all of you are able to access the questions.
yeah,
Yeah, Reshma, Karthikeyan.
Yeah, I'm able to access.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just show the results.
I didn't answer.
You didn't answer, so
Now I'm
how?
going to check if it is working.
All right, I think there's a tie between Gaurav and Karthikeyan, even though they got out of 3, they've got 2 answers correct. So, so Gaurav, if you have registered, I'll send you an email.
yeah, I did register.
Yeah, so I should be able to access your email. I'll just drop you email, right?
Sure.
With price award. So with that, I think I'd like to conclude today's ACE session, Kochi ACE session. I think this is the second session which we were having this year, and the third one which we are looking for a live event. I mean, in-person event which will be hosted towards the month or end of August. That's the plan. So once we are closer to it, I'll let you know with the details. And thanks, Vindhya, once again for taking your time and preparing for this presentation. And with that, I'll wrap up. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Yeah, bye-bye.
Just let me close the recording.